Today I want to make a Tuscan dish for you with a little bit of variation, and I'm starting with a little bit of pancetta, which is nothing but Italian bacon. And I've got it in about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and all I really want to do is let that wilt down and take on a little color. Because with the papardelle, the noodles today, we're going to make a veal stew. And while that is browning, let me talk to you about the veal. We're using veal shoulder, and here's a piece right here that's about 2 pounds. And it's not a very tender cut of veal. It's not like having to go to the store and pay an arm and a leg for veal cutlet. And the reason I'm using this is because I want to make a stew type dish. So here I'm trying to get all of the meat away from the bone, and then what I'm going to do is cut the meat up into pieces for stew. If you want to take off the excess fat, do that. And you want to cut this up into about 1-inch pieces, stew-sized pieces like that, and then give them a little bit of salt and pepper. And then with that bone, and there's another piece I can get off there because I don't want to waste any of this. If there's a little bit of meat that clings to the bone, that's okay. We're going to make a stock that's going to go with the stew. And to do that, you want to start with some vegetables and bones. And here I have beef bones and veal bones that I've got on a greased cookie sheet with some carrots, not even peeled, just roughly chopped. Onions with their skins on. You could use red, yellow, or white onion. Garlic with their skin on. And some celery. And this is going to go into a 350-degree oven to roast for about 35 or 45 minutes. And they've developed a wonderful flavor. You see, there they are. That's how they look. And now this is going to go into a stock pot. So I'm going to take those bones and put them in first. I'm going to chew on those later because there's a lot of flavor in there. And now I can put my vegetables in. You see, all of this is going in. You see how beautiful this looks? This roasted technique is what is going to give this stock its flavor. So there, that all goes in. And then you want to add some water to cover. So in goes the water to cover the vegetables. And then the only other thing I want to add here, now that that's in, is a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. So let me give it a little bit of each. There's my pepper, there's my salt, and a couple of bay leaves will give that a very nice flavor. So in that goes. And now, put the pot on, the cover, and let that. So I think that's cooked down where I want it. I'm going to have to add the onion now. So I'm going to put the onion in right now. And I'm going to add some garlic. In goes my garlic. And I'm going to let that cook down just for a few minutes. And now let me get my stock. So now here is the stock that I have been cooling. You see, I let this cook a good 2 hours. Get rid of that. And now I have to strain it. So I want to bring up my bowl for straining. Now, for those of you who are wimpy and don't want to make stock, you can always go the bouillon cube route. That you can find in the grocery store. So now what you want to do is take out the bones first. You see? There's the bone. I want to take those all out now. See if I can find the other one. Here's the other one. Otherwise, everything will splatter too much if you don't do it this way. And then that you can just discard. Then, carefully pour the rest of this through a strainer. Isn't that wonderful? So now I can get rid of this. And this you could actually put into ice cube trays and save for later on for uses in other things. All right, so how are we doing here? This is looking wonderful, and now I have to give this a little bit of mint. So here's some mint. If you didn't want to use mint, you could use a little bit of parsley. And now these onions are just where I want them. They're soft. So now I need to take them out into a bowl. Here we go. I want to take them out because now I have to get my veal pieces browning. So get a bowl and put your mixture in. Doesn't that look wonderful? And this is going to give a wonderful flavor to our veal. All right, now, in those pan drippings, if you see that the pan is a little dry, you could add a little bit of olive oil, goes our veal. And now I want to give that just a little bit of salt and a little bit of coarse pepper, and just mix it up with your hands. And now if you wanted to make a thick ragu, what you could do is add a little bit of flour with that, and then a little bit of flour over the veal. Then what you want to do is just dry the veal pieces off a little bit, because they really should be not wet when you put them into your frying pan or your skillet. So in go my pieces. It is just about time for me to add the rest of the ingredients. So now the onions and the pancetta go back in just like that. A little sale goes in. Un po' di pepe goes in. And the last thing we have to add to this now is some of that homemade stock. And here it is. See how beautiful it looks? And that's about, a cup. You want enough to cover the amount of meat that you're doing. And you want a little bit of red wine. About a half a cup goes in. And this is going to make a very, very hearty stew. And you see how good that looks? Wish you were going to be here for dinner. And now, all you want to do is cover that, lower the heat on that, and let that simmer. I got to go back and check this stew and see how we're doing here. Okay, that is looking absolutely beautiful. Now you really want that to cook down until the veal is tender, and that's not going to take very long, maybe about 30 or 35 minutes. So now I need to clean up a little bit. You want to put on the veal. It goes right over the top